Hello West Ham Network, it's Holly. Unfortunately, West Ham have just lost 2-0 to a struggling Liverpool side that we'd really hoped that we could actually manage to capitalise on and get something from today's game. Where to start? There's a lot of frustrations following the game, how it unfolded, the things that we did. Obviously, we started with, I was interested to see how this would play out, but we started with Fernandes, Potts and Magassa, which as the game went on, you could just see that it was detrimental to us because it meant that we didn't have that width. I think if we'd have had a Somerville on, you'd have been able to have that outlet where we could get up the pitch, but countless times we were getting possession but just couldn't do enough with it because we couldn't get the ball. There was no one there up the wing for us to actually be able to pass to. So that ended up being quite detrimental to us and the way that we could play. And it really showed that we do need that width to be able to actually attack. First 20 minutes, I would say it was okay. Nothing to write home about, but nothing terrible either. But then it just felt like we sat back. The same thing that we've been doing so many times, and it's so frustrating because every time we think, have we just made some progress here? Something West Hammy just returns and reminds you that we've got such a long way to go. Obviously, Liverpool are always going to be difficult to play against, and one-on-one, they're physical, they're strong, they're technical, and they have the ability to beat you on the ball, but they were there for the taking. They've been so poor, and the one thing I can say from today's game as well is they weren't great. Like we could have beaten that side easily. The goals, two mistakes to be honest, which is something that we've seen a lot. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but we've got to talk about the Paqueta situation. Frustrating, really frustrating. So we know that Paqueta's hot-headed, and regardless, in my opinion, of whether or not you think you deserve a yellow, you cannot get in a ref's face like that and shout. You have to expect a yellow card for that. I was surprised it took him so long to be sent off because he just kept going and going and going. Alisson was trying to pull him back at one point, and you'd think he'd come away, and then he just returned and started shouting in the ref's face and flapping hands again. And I think it was like he was on an absolute mission to be sent off. And that's really a shame because it's so detrimental to the team. We needed him coming up with the games that we've got, Man United coming up. The fact that he can't just switch something off in his brain and go, maybe, even if I disagree, I just need to put this to the side for the team's sake. It's frustrating, really is, but we know that Paqueta's always had that streak within him, I suppose. So, yeah, but one of the major frustrations is that no one took that leadership role to just drag him away. I've been in situations like this in the Sunday League, and everyone's got hot-headed players, but you've got to sometimes just grab your arm around him and take him away because he was getting himself in more and more trouble. And I think the frustration is that obviously as a captain, you would hope that Bowen would be the one to just rugby tackle him away, like just get him away from the referee for the sake of stopping him being sent off. And that didn't happen. And everyone seemed quite shocked at the second yellow on the pitch, which personally I don't think you can be shocked when someone is making such a massive scene. And then my other concern is he was still sarcastically applauding the referee, the officials as he was going off, which I worry might mean that his ban is longer than it would have been if he'd have just gone off peacefully, if you can say that. So yeah, there were noticeable things that we've been saying for weeks. We don't have anyone on the bench that we can bring on to make a difference. We didn't have a real outlet. Paqueta was pretty ineffective. Bowen didn't have a great performance. And sometimes players like Bowen that have been so consistent for us, you only need them to have a couple of games where they don't really do much, and it really does impact you as a side and the things that you're able to do. We're still vulnerable at the back. So talking about those goals, first goal, Areola gets beaten at the near post. Second goal, Mavropanos kind of misses a header, doesn't manage to clear it, and it goes straight to their player who knocks it in, unfortunately. So yeah, all in all, just frustrating, like a real mixture of frustrating things that happened during that game where we should be better than this, and we want that fight and that spark. We definitely looked slower. We weren't able to sort of break with the ball. And I think the biggest problem as well was at the beginning where we had been playing okay. We just kept lumping the ball up top, and I'm not quite sure what we were looking to achieve because Callum Wilson wasn't as tall as the defenders, has two defenders on him. We weren't even managing to lump the ball up near him. It was like we were panicking and just hoofing it up. And with that, it meant that we couldn't do anything because instead of actually getting possession again and playing with the ball at feet, how we can break quickly, catch them off guard, which is how Liverpool have been struggling and how they've been conceding so many goals recently, we're just lumping the ball up to absolutely nobody. Liverpool have all the time in the world to control it and come back and attack us. And we know that we're not good enough at absorbing pressure for this long before we concede a goal. And that's exactly what happened once again. So yeah, all in all, it's been a really frustrating one. I think it's shown the same vulnerabilities that we've known that we have, the same issues that we know that we have. There's a real need for us to pick up points wherever and however we can, even if we're not performing well. But it's just a shame because today felt like Liverpool were there for the taking, but we just did not turn up in a way that meant that we could take those points. And we had however many corners, we didn't manage to do anything from them. And I think these are the things that you just can't not score from that many corners and then try and soak up pressure against the side that does have the quality Liverpool have, regardless of how bad they've actually been performing. We definitely need reinforcements in January. We've known that again, so it's all the same things rearing their heads that we've known for a very long time that we've got these issues. It's just a matter now of how we see it through to January, but we need to find that fight from within ourselves and pull together as a team. Massive shame to go down to 10 men. Massive shame to not have Paqueta, because as much as he must frustrate us all a lot of the time, he is a player that could have been useful, because as I said, we've not really got anyone that can come off the bench at the moment that can help things. So that leaves us with even less squad depth. Shame to not have Somerville back. I really feel like he would inject a lot of pace into our side at the moment and bring a lot of creativity, which again is something that we've been missing. He was so good for us, but maybe we've just pushed him too much too soon because we needed him so badly when he's come back from injury. The fact that he didn't fully go down, I'm hoping that it's not something super serious, but instead is something that he's just not ready to come back yet. So hopefully we can see him in the coming weeks, because that pace and that urgency and that wanting the ball and quickly moving on the ball and passing and running and moving just makes such a difference to the way in which we can play. So am I pinning all my hopes on Somerville? Probably. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on today's game. Like I said, I want to know what you think, so drop us a comment down below with your thoughts. How are you feeling? Did that go how you were expecting it to? Did you think we were in for a decent battle against Liverpool, or did you think we were going to be able to capitalise on their poor performances? I said it before the game, unfortunately West Ham are one of those sides that you can go up against a team that's in terrible form, but we will somehow find a way to help them find that form again. Unfortunately, that's what we did with Liverpool today, and they just didn't even look good. I think that's my main frustration. If they'd have turned up today and looked good, I'd have gone, do you know what? Okay, we didn't perform well enough. They performed well, we lost. But they weren't even good. I think that's what's killing me off the most at the moment. So yes, as we knew, we've got so much work to do. Manchester United next. Any points will be great. I don't even care if they're ugly wins at the moment. I think any points we can get will make a huge difference, just to see us through to January in a way that we're hopefully out of that relegation zone. And as we know, we've got so much work, so many reinforcements that are needed as we go into January. So here's to hopefully a more positive couple of weeks. A lot of work being done, and I'm hoping that in these difficult times, we've now got no Paqueta, the team can just pull together and find a way to find a solution on that pitch and just make something happen, because that's what we've got to do at this point. So that's all from me for now. If you don't mind, take a second to give this video a thumbs up, because it goes a long way to supporting the channel. Subscribe to West Ham Network if you're new around here. And like I said, drop us a comment with your thoughts, because I want to know what you think we could have done or should have done against Liverpool, and did that result go the way that you thought it would? Lots of work to do. A lot of work to do all over the pitch, from captain to tactics to setup to squad depth, but hopefully we can do it. And until next time, I've been Holly. Thanks for watching. Come on, you Irons.